Hey guys, welcome back to another top 5 video. Today we are talking about the Fairy type. Fairy is the newest type, and as such, it doesn't have quite as many Pokemon to its name as other types do. But it's still got some really cool Pokemon to choose from, so let's just get to it. First up is number 5, and that's Sylveon. Sylveon is the evolved form of Eevee and is known as the intertwining Pokemon. Sylveon was first revealed in CoroCoro in February of 2013. At the time, we had no idea what its typing was. It wasn't until June when we learned about the fairy typing. So at the time of Sylveon's reveal, everybody was still trying to guess its typing based on the types that we had. Sylveon is the first evolution to be introduced by itself. In fact, Gen 6 didn't even have a secondary evolution for Eevee. On top of that, the way it evolves is also very different from the other evolutions, where some of them evolve via the evolution stones, or some of them evolve via time of day, or even location based. Eevee evolves into Sylveon by leveling up, knowing a fairy type move, and having at least 2 levels of affection in either Pokemon Amie or Pokemon Refresh, depending on the game you're playing. I like Sylveon largely because it was a brand new type when it was introduced, and I also just like the way it looks. It's so whimsical and colorful. I think it really just embodies everything that fairy type is. Although I will say, the ribbons are a little weird. Are they made of flesh or what? Well, regardless, I still really like Sylveon a lot, and that's why it's my number 5 spot. Next up is number 4, and that's Swirlix, the cotton candy Pokemon. Swirlix is another Pokemon introduced in the 6th generation, and it's the pre-evolved form of Slurpuff. In order to evolve Swirlix into Slurpuff, you need to trade it holding the item with Dream. I like Swirlix largely because its theme is cotton candy, and that it's a puppy. Both things are really likable, and it's really hard not to like it at all. Think what you want about Slurpuff, Swirlix itself is just really cute. I really like that it can float around, and when it does, its tail acts as kind of like a stick for when you're holding cotton candy. And when it's actually on the ground, it's got these cute little feet. And when it opens its mouth, it's got little fangs that poke out. It's just so adorable. The one thing I'm not sure I entirely like about it is that apparently its diet is all sweets, and that's what makes it so sticky like cotton candy. I don't know if that's the healthiest thing in the world, and on top of that, sticky is not always great. That said, its adorableness overrides any grossness that it actually is, so oh well, and that's why it's my number 4. Next up is number 3, and that's Mawile, who is coincidentally from Generation 3. Mawile is known as the Deceiver Pokemon, and that's because it's got a giant mouth on the back of its head. This giant mouth is inspired by the Futakuchi Onna, which is a yokai that is a woman with a mouth on the back of her head. The mouth is often depicted as a ghastly looking thing with razor sharp teeth and a long tongue. Now I don't know about the tongue, but Mawile's head certainly has some razor sharp teeth on it. Obviously, prior to Gen 6, Fairy type wasn't around, so before that, Mawile was just a regular old Steel type. While its Fairy typing was never really a deciding factor of me liking it in general, I guess you could say that it really wasn't ever on my radar prior to Gen 6. I still liked it plenty though. Now something that was a deciding factor in me liking it is its Mega Evolution. When Mawile Mega evolves, it gains the ability Huge Power, which boosts its physical attack stat. As far as its design goes, it gains a foot in height, and it gains an extra mouth on the back of its head. Its lower half also turns a nice magenta color. It almost looks like it's wearing a Hakama, which is basically the pants that samurai wear. Mawile is definitely one of those Pokemon where if its Mega Evolution was a permanent form, I would definitely have it much higher on the list. But even with that, I still like it a lot, and that's why it's my number 3. Alright, now on to my number 2 spot, and that's Xerneas. Xerneas is the mascot Pokemon of Pokemon X, and it's part of the Aura Trio. It's known as the Life Pokemon, and it also has kind of 2 forms, although honestly they're more cosmetic than anything else. One form is called its neutral form, which I guess in lore it means that it's just basically chilling out. As for its other form, it's called the active form, and that's basically just when it's doing stuff in general. The difference is largely just the color of its horns. When not doing anything, and in its neutral form, the color of its horns are blue. But when it's active, they change to kind of a yellowish tan color. On top of that, certain parts of its horns start glowing bright colors. Not gonna lie, a big reason I like Xerneas is because of how it's designed. I love the rainbow horns, and I love that its body can basically make the shape of an X. You can clearly see the inspiration they had for it. Much of its design is based around Norse mythology, specifically around the Yggdrasil tree. In any event, I really like Xerneas a lot. I like its lore with Yveltal and the difference between life and death. Unlike many other fairy type Pokemon, it's not really cutesy per se. Its fairy typing really comes from its lore. Fairy type in a lot of ways is meant to be more of a kind of a magical type. So as a life giver, I think Xerneas fits in with it perfectly. Its whole role is to restore life after Yveltal's taken it away. And that's just super cool to me. Between its complex lore and its design, I just really like it a lot, and that's why it's my number 2 spot. And finally, my number 1 fairy type Pokemon, and that's Togepi. When I first decided to do fairy type next, I honestly didn't think that I would choose Togepi. I still just think of it as a normal type like it was in Gen 2. But as of Gen 6, it became a purebred fairy type, and it honestly fits. I think for its 2 evolutions, fairy type fits perfectly. They kind of look magical even. As for Togepi, I guess it could have stayed normal type since it doesn't have any particular magical qualities to it necessarily, but I think it's fairy type largely because it's just so darn cute. Togepi's biggest claim to fame is that it was owned by Misty and was one of the first Gen 2 Pokemon to be revealed, period. While its egg was originally owned by Ash, eventually it made its way to Misty and then it hatched. Then, for many following seasons, it was around all the time as kind of a companion Pokemon to Pikachu. Although, since Togepi was technically a baby, Pikachu was doing a lot of babysitting. Nevertheless, Togepi is just adorable, so it was nice to have it around. It was also cool to see another cast member have a Pokemon outside of their Pokeball like Pikachu is for Ash. In fact, now that I think about it, I don't recall Togepi ever going inside of a Pokeball. Huh. Did Misty actually even catch Togepi? Well, either way, it was a delight to have Togepi along for the ride. Togepi is super cute, and one day I'd really like to use it and its evolutions. Although I will say it doesn't have the greatest move pool right off the bat. It's a little bit of work, but it might be worth it. And it's all these things that make it my number 1 fairy type Pokemon. Well, there you have it. Those are my top 5 fairy type Pokemon. Let me know what you guys think. And let me know what your top 5 fairy type Pokemon are down below in the comments section. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. I would greatly appreciate that. In addition to that, if you want to see more from me, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you'll never miss a video from me. Well, that's it from me. I hope to see you guys in another video, and I also hope you have an awesome day. See you later.